Special edition of the Sci Squad podcast. Normally you have me and Brendan and Noah and Ben on the show, but this week we're doing a little bit different due to some scheduling issues. It's just going to be, and my special guest at this time, my brother,
Quinten Branson.
Quinten is very sports-minded, high schooler, likes the Seahawks, likes Golden State Warriors. Tell he's kind of a bandwagon fan there.
Yeah, okay.
Just like someone they become champions.
Yes, sir.
But we might as well get started with basketball today, since it's just happening, kind of going on.
Yeah.
So NBA playoffs are to the semifinals right now. Just about to the semifinals. They're the quarterfinals, semifinals for each conference. We got Toronto and Boston. Forcing a Game 7 Toronto there with double overtime. This is a great matchup. Probably bubble games of the bubble. The best games in the bubble, I'd say. What would you think?
Yeah, they're really going on. These Raptors-Celtics games been pretty good. The only really series that I think was doing the same was the Jazz versus the Nuggets. That was a really good series. But Jason Tatum, he's been really going off for the Celtics, kind of carrying them, all playing good as a team. And the Raptors able to make it a series, force a Game 7 tonight, double OT.
Who do you think wins that series?
Probably the Celtics. They've been, I think today's the year they make it over the semifinals hump. Like in the past, they had to go against LeBron for all them years, and now they're finally away from LeBron. So I think with all these years, all these young stars, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and then like an older like Kemba Walker, they can really make like a push this year. Maybe that's not like a finals victory, but that's at least like making it up there. With all these young stars, I definitely think like in the future they're gonna be able to make it to the finals and really compete.
That's fair. I actually think Toronto's gonna win this. Toronto has the fire. I think they're gonna go back to the championship. I don't think they're gonna win the championship. We'll get to that in a second. But I think that they'll, just with the heart and desire they're playing with right now, they went down and now they've tied it back up. I think they're gonna just have the slight edge. Nick Nurse is Coach of the Year, probably the best coach, if not one of the best coaches in the league right now.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to be able to get that dub tomorrow and then go on to face a well-prepared team.
Miami Heat,
who we might as well talk about next. Miami's looking good.
Yeah, they are. They really dominated the Bucks there. They had Giannis's card every night. They were just doubling, doing good, and I think they're just gonna keep continuing. I think if it doesn't matter if they play the Celtics or the Raptors, I think they're gonna be able to be strong in that. They just have so many versatile players like Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson always being able to hit that three, and Gorgon Dragic really coming up and playing good.
That's fair. I've really been high on the Heat here. They're a fun basketball team to watch, especially with Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Gordon Dragic, all the three-point players, the shooters on that team. It just makes it fun to watch. Always exciting, the games are. And they beat Milwaukee, the number one seeded team. The number one team in the league, pre-bubble, beat them 4-1. Yeah. They've had one loss in the playoffs. The whole playoffs. They swept their former opponents, and they just keep going here. I just think they're on a tear. Of course, there's the Pacers. I don't know if they'll be able to beat a Raptors or a Celtics team. I'm up to watch to find out. But I don't know how it will go necessarily, especially with both those teams playing desirable football or basketball. Getting the best games possible. And then Miami kind of struggling late against a Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
I just think that's interesting to turn out. But the other two conference games that are going on right now are, of course, the Clippers and the Nuggets, and then the Lake Show versus Houston Rockets. Clippers up 2-1. Lakers up 2-1. I think the battle of LA. I'd like to see the Nuggets win. I really would. I don't necessarily think they will. I think the Clippers, especially since Paul George has kind of gotten out of his...
He's gotten out of his slump, and,
yeah.
The Clippers have just played so well in, big games, when they played the Mavericks. When they really needed to show out and get a win, they'd win by, 30 points.
Right.
And so they're really coming together and really just going all out.
And then the Lakers and the Rockets, I think, honestly, it could go either way. The Lakers have their games where they dominate, but then they have those games where they struggle immensely. You saw that in the Portland series as well, where they just couldn't, they barely edged them out. They just couldn't, get over whatever issues they were having, and it wouldn't be one issue for one person. It would be
the whole team.
The whole team. Nobody could play. And then all of a sudden you have a few games where, Danny Green's hitting, 3 threes in a row. And I'm like, whoa there, buddy. Calm it down. But, I don't know. I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to keep it a hot streak. And I think the way Harden and Westbrook play when they get serious, when they're both playing good basketball, I think they're the better duo at this moment. LeBron and AD, of course, they do a lot for the team. You don't have anybody out of that. Outside of them, who are you going to put? Kuz? JaVale McGee? But then you look at the Rockets, and you got Westbrook, you got Harden, and then you also got guys like PJ Tucker, who...
It's been really, stopping Anthony Davis.
Probably best defensive player in the series, both sides, even though Anthony Davis was up for Defensive Player of the Year. PJ Tucker's been holding Davis. And it really shows, especially with the way that Anthony Davis, yes, he's going to have his big games. Yes, he's going to look like he does a lot more on the box score. But when you watch the games, it kind of tells a different story. And so I'm excited to see what happens there. We'll find out as it's game 4 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, nobody's going to be watching that game because it's on tomorrow, Quinn. Football's on tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll get to that in a second. But we're just going to touch on the NHL playoffs because they are also, I think they're heading into their semifinals. They just started it here as it's Islanders and Tampa. And then it's the Dallas Stars versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, you probably expected the Golden Knights to be there. The Lightning, you may be surprised. The Islanders, you may be surprised. Dallas, you might be a little surprised. Tampa leads the series 1-0. Right now, it's in the middle of the third period. 1-1. Tampa, if Tampa gets the win, it'll be 2-0. I think Tampa's going all the way. Yeah. I think Tampa's winning the chip this year, the Stanley Cup this year. Golden Knights, they have their moments where they look great. But they have their moments where they struggle in unnecessary moments. And for that reason, I could see the Dallas Stars defeating
them, yeah.
And then I think Tampa Bay is better than Dallas, and so I'm giving the edge to Tampa Bay. I think it's their year.
Yeah, they've been really playing good all year. Even better in the playoffs. I don't think nobody's going to be able to stop them.
They did, yeah. It's true, they were number 2 in the division this last year before the whole bubble world shut down. And then they're playing decently in the bubble, so hey. It's been great to watch sports. There's so much sports going on. You can even talk about tennis if you want.
Tennis.
Golf. What else is there? Really anything. All the sports are back. And I'm loving it. But we might as well get to the reason you're here, Quinten. Tomorrow. Live.
Chiefs versus Texans?
Chiefs versus Texans. Patrick Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson. Bill O'Brien versus Andy Reid. Who do you have winning this matchup?
Definitely have the Chiefs. I think it might be close in the first half, but I really see the Chiefs just pulling away in the second. Obviously the Chiefs lost their number one receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and last year in the playoffs, the first quarter the Texans looked great. In the second quarter, Chiefs came to play. Patrick Mahomes went out, and it was their game to win, and they just lost. They didn't play good at all. And the Chiefs this year, even just everybody on their team's gotten better. They have Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, and McCole Hardman at wide receiver. They added new running back out of LSU.
Clyde Edwards, yep.
Yeah, Hilaire. And so I just think it's going to just be a dominant game for the Chiefs.
I also think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I think Houston's going to put up a fight. You sign both quarterbacks for the Chiefs and the Texans just got paid a massive amount of money. But it was expected, right?
Yeah.
But I think, especially with the emotion that went into Deshaun Watson, he's playing with a fire. He lost his best receiver last year for a B-list running back who can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to coaching, and for this one, Andy Reid's probably number 2, number 3 greatest coach of all time at this point. He got the championship under there. You definitely can't argue against top 10. Yeah. I'd say top 5. And for that reason, I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. 38-32 will be my final score. It will be a close one. And it will be pretty decently high scoring. But I think that the Chiefs offense, and they're just going to play better game, better football. I think they're going to win.
Yeah.
Our next game here that we're going to talk about, we're going to move it on over to Sunday Night Football. First Sunday Night Football game of the year. It's a real doozy. This is the Cowboys versus the Rams. Kind of what you're seeing now, right? Yeah. Dallas versus LA. It happened in the NBA. Except for sadly in this one, I don't see LA getting the dub here. Even though the Rams just paid Ramsey an enormous amount of money, got themselves in more cap space issues,
Yeah.
Not surprising. You look at quarterback play. Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. Dak playing on the franchise tag, gonna have so much more fire. You look at the receivers. Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee.
That's really all.
That's who you got.
Dallas has Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper was really, really good last year. Michael Gallup's a young guy.
CeeDee Lamb
just added in as a rookie, hoping to make a big impact.
Then you look at running backs. You got Cam Akers, backup running back for the... Well, should be backup running back for the Rams, I guess.
Yeah.
Getting the starting job since Todd Gurley's not there anymore. And then you got Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, you get the hand easily to Zeke. You look at the defense. Yes, there's Aaron Donald. Yes, there's Jalen Ramsey. But you look at the Cowboys' defense. The Cowboys' defense isn't bad at all. And against the worst offense of the Rams, I think it's going to be just fine. It really could be an interesting game at some point. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be 28-24. I think Dallas is going to lead the whole game. and that's just gonna be how it's gonna be.
Dallas is just hopefully if Dak he needs to have a good season. He's trying to get paid with all the Deshaun Watson got paid a lot, Patrick Mahomes got paid a lot, and he really thinks he's a top quarterback. So he's looking to have a big season. As long as he just has a good season, he's gonna be able to beat the Rams week 1. Yeah.
Do you think the Cowboys are a playoff team this year?
I don't think they're gonna. I think they might be able to make the wild card. They have the Giants and the Redskins and the Eagles in their division. So, the Redskins, they're getting better, but just how bad they are, it's going to be a while before they're going to be able to be good. The Giants, you think Saquon Barkley, really nobody else. They got Daniel Jones back, second year. And the Eagles, they're...
Logan Ryan! You forgot about Logan Ryan on the Giants.
And the Eagles, Carson Wentz, he thinks he's going to have a good year. I don't really know about that.
Oh! No would not be happy to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's maybe above average quarterback at best. I don't think he's really up there with elite, like with the Russell Wilson, like with the top 3, like Russell Wilson, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes. I just don't think he's up there. He's made the playoffs. He hasn't been able to get out of the wild card. Yeah, so I think Dallas, they should be able to be like a 9-7 team, be able to make it into the playoffs. If Dak Prescott, it's really up to Dak Prescott and the coaching.
Mike McCarthy, new
head coach there. They got Jason Garrett out of the head coaching job.
Yeah. You think it's an improvement?
Yeah, Jason Garrett, he's not like a bad coach. I just don't think they fit it. They need to utilize more of the players they have. With Jason Garrett, they didn't really do that, but now with Mike McCarthy, former head coach of the Packers, and I think they're really going to be able to do something this year. I don't know if they're going to be like one of the great teams, like up there with the Chiefs and not Rams, the Ravens, but I think they're going to be able to make the playoffs and maybe even make a run.
Fair, that's fair. We might as well go to Jason Garrett's new team. He is the coordinator for the Giants. Giants are facing the Steelers on Monday Night Football. First game on Monday Night Football. Giants got Joe Judge, Jason Garrett, Freddie Kitchens, Saquon Barkley, Logan Ryan, Danny Dimes, Sterling Shepard, a couple other guys, but they're facing Big Ben and the Steelers. With that Steelers defense, it could be scary.
Yeah, the Steelers defense is really coming on. They got the stars like Mika, Fitzpatrick, traded last year, really a big impact. TJ Watt is really becoming a force in the NFL, and they're just gonna have a really good defense. I don't think Saquon's gonna be able to carry the Giants over that. And with the Steelers offense, they have Juju back. He didn't really play a lot last year, and he played with Dalvin Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Nothing really you can do. They got Big Ben back. I don't know if he's gonna be top, but I think he's gonna be average at least. I think he's gonna have a good, decent bounce back year. I think he's gonna be able to do good with the offense. They have James Conner and Benny Snell at a running back, and then James Washington. He was really good last year. Stepped up when Juju was out, even with Dalvin Hodges and Mason Rudolph throwing him the ball. So I think the Steelers are gonna take that. It's gonna be a low scoring game.
I do not think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be 32-9 Steelers. I think 6 points is going to come from your friends, Saquon Barkley, and then going to get a field goal. I don't think you're going to be able to do much more. I think Pittsburgh's defense is going to get at least one pick, 6. I think it's going to be Mika Fitzpatrick. I think that they're just going to destroy and show them that the Steelers are back.
Yeah.
They're going to fight for that playoff spot. They were half a win away from it last year.
And they had Dalvin Hodges and Mason Rudolph playing at the quarterback.
Exactly. This year, I think they're going to be ready to make a tear. That AFC North division, at least two of the teams right now are looking scary. Potentially all four of the teams could be great at some point in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see it. Moving on to the next Monday night game. Personally, my favorite game of the week probably is the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. Von Miller just went down with an injury. Probably out the whole season. That's a very, very big loss for the Broncos. The Broncos have had a couple other losses this year due to injury.
Yeah,
but I still think they're going to beat the Titans. I don't think Ryan
Tannehill.
I don't think Ryan Tannehill's going to have the same year that he did last year. Derrick Henry, he paid him. I think he's not going to be the home wrecker that he was last year. He'll be an above-average running back, but he's not going to be as special as they thought he was because people are going to figure him out. And I think the Broncos, I think it's going to be a really close one. I think it's going to come down to the wire. But I have the Broncos winning 21-20.
Yeah. That game's really going to be up to Denver's defense just stopping Derrick Henry. And if they can do that, they're not going to really be able to do anything you see last year, like in the playoffs. It was Derrick Henry.
Right. Who are their receivers?
A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, Adam Humphries.
A.J. Brown.
He was
A.J.
Brown
is
really
one.
the only good one.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And then, so...
We got A.J. Boye. Races A.J. Brown. Or if you need to, Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
Get A.J. Brown out of there. You got three nobodies. Mm-hmm. The Broncos. Cortland Sutton.
Jerry Jeudy.
It's going to be the best duo wide receiver bunch in the NFL in the next couple of years. Jerry Jeudy's probably the best draft receiver this year coming out of the first round for sure. You can argue with CeeDee Lamb. Henry Ruggs, all he had was speed. Jerry Jeudy is the best overall receiver coming from the draft. Him and Drew Lock are going to play very well together. Hopefully, anyways. And I think it's going to be an exciting year for Denver. Definitely a bounce-back year from last year. Joe Flacco experiment. But, yeah. Next game here, Ben's game of the week, is the Green Bay Packers at an empty U.S. Bank Stadium against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win. You know, Dalvin Cook, he's a really good running back, but he's just not able to stay healthy. You could see that last year. And then Kirk Cousins doesn't matter. He's not a great quarterback. And then with them losing Stephon Diggs, that's really big for them.
They did pick up Justin Jefferson.
They did pick up Justin Jefferson in the draft.
I think a big defensive loss for Minnesota, especially against this first game here, is going to be Danielle Hunter, who was placed on IR today. At least 4 weeks. I think that's going to be probably their biggest loss. But you got to remember, they don't have Trey Waynes anymore. Roads are now open. They don't have Xavier Rhodes. They got rid of a lot of their pieces that they had. Everson Griffin isn't there no more. And I just don't think it's going to be the same team that beat the Saints last year. And I think that they are going to lose to the Packers 28-14. I think Aaron Rodgers, especially after the Packers had
going out and drafting Jordan Love
and a backup running back with their first 2 picks in the draft, trading up to get Jordan Love. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to play with a fire this year. He said that he has found something again, that he was watching tape from 2010, and he's very excited about the season. You saw him crotch chopping people. He's freaking out. He's having a great time at
training camp.
He's joking around with the other quarterbacks. He's throwing touchdowns. He's looking great. I think that Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones are definitely going to need big years, especially when they're going to probably be free agents at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And that defense is still a great defense. The Smith brothers, killer.
Darrell Alexander, he's great at corner.
They signed Adrian Amos in the offseason. I think that defense has potential to be one of the top five defenses in the league this year. If they play their cards right. We'll see what Matt LaFleur does. But I'm excited for this game. Of course, we'll get to watch this game since we're in Sioux Falls. And we'll be watching it over the next game that we're going to talk about, which I would rather watch personally. Seattle versus the Falcons. I know you're a Seattle fan, so you're going to have a little bias here. Falcons, all first round draft picks on that offense. Every single one of them, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Todd Gurley, new to the team. They're looking hot. They're ready to go. Playing in a tough division, but, they're playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks isn't all that exceptional outside of Russell Wilson, outside of their running back. Chris Carson's decent. He's an above-average running back. But he struggled early in the year last year.
With fumbles, yeah.
Who's to say he's not going to struggle early this year? DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, yeah, they're great receivers. But you didn't really fix that O-line. And how long is Russell going to be able to scramble from that O-line? Especially against the Falcons. I know the Falcons don't have the best defense, right? But the Falcons have an above-average defense, and I don't know. I think Seattle will get the win here because it's in Seattle. It's at the Falcons, but there's no fans. I think Seattle will still get the win. They are the better team, but I think you're gonna see them struggle. Am I wrong?
No, the defense, we lost Devin Clowney, we picked up Jamal Adams, and we lost Bradley McDougall, if I'm correct. And Bradley McDougall, he was a good player for us, but Jamal Adams, he's just one of them top players. We haven't had a top player in our secondary since the Legion of Boom with Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and Richard Sherman. So now, I think we're going to be able to do good. Todd Gurley ain't what he used to be with the Rams. He's been having problems ever since they lost the Super Bowl. Ever since that season, he hasn't been the same. So I think the Seahawks are going to be able to contain him. And with the past, Matt Ryan, he's going to be good, but and that receiving core, he's going to be good, but Matt Ryan, he was great when he won the MVP that year when they went to the playoffs and when we went to the Super Bowl, but it hasn't been the same. And with Seahawks, you can always count on Russell Wilson to be a great, consistent quarterback. He's going to be able to win them tough games. And even though, I think it's going to be a tough game, even though, the Falcons ain't all that great. But first game of the season, Seahawks, they always start out slow, but they get it going. So I think the Seahawks are going to win. I think it's going to be probably 28-14. Chris Carson, I think he's going to be able to do good. He had fumble problems last year in the beginning of the season, but he really picked it up after. Rashad Penny, he's going to be coming back after, I believe it was an ACL tear. So I think the dual running backs, that will be good, and I think we're going to be able to come out and get the win.
All right, I agree with that statement. I think they are going to get the win there. Moving on to the next game. This one's going to be a fun one. Noah picked this game. The Tampa Bay Tom Brady's versus the New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a great matchup. Potential to be game of the year. If everything falls together, right? Tom Brady with a new team. With an offense this year. Elite receivers. Leonard Fournette at running back. And they didn't lose anybody, right?
Yeah.
They still got all their tight ends, all 6,000 of them. They still have their running back. Their backup running back. Their O-line isn't fantastic, but it's going to be better than Tom Brady had at the end of the season.
Yeah. their defense is gonna be good. They still have young second year Devin White going into second year. They have players like Shaq Barrett, who was great last year, Vita Vea. So I think they're just gonna have hopefully a great season. Hopefully they don't turn out like the Browns.
Right, overhyped and then underdeliver.
Mm-hmm. Hope they have a good year. Tom Brady, he's getting old, but has proven he still was able to make it in the playoffs the past couple years, and especially last year. He didn't really have a good team. His offensive line was banged up. His wide receivers weren't the best, and he was still able to make it to the playoffs.
That's fair. But then you look at that New Orleans Saints team, and you're like, one of the best wide receivers in the league, top 5 at least, Mike Thomas. You got Alvin Kamara, contract disputes or not, they're close to a deal. He is going to play. You still got Drew frickin' Brees.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really struggling in that department. Defense, top 10 defense in the league.
Yeah.
This game's going to be fun to watch, especially this series. I think they're going to split the series, personally, but I think New Orleans is going to get the dub here, 38-30. Exciting game. Definitely a fun game to watch, for sure. I think we're going to finally get to see what Tom Brady gets to do outside of Bill Belichick. Get to see Tom Brady play as Tom Brady and not Bill Belichick's puzzle piece. And I believe that with Bruce Arians giving Tom Brady more offensive freedom to do what he wants, especially with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, they're going to have whatever they need on offense that they can make amazing plays. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a fun one for sure. But I think New Orleans is going to get the victory.
New Orleans the Saints are going to take this one, but I definitely think the Bucs are winning the next one against them. Because the Bucs, new players. They have Tom Brady, Gronk, Leonard Fournette, all new players. So it's gonna take a while to really find out what team they are. But I think once they do that, they're just gonna be on a steamroll.
Right. I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. Moving on here. My game of the week. It's gonna be the best game of the week. Right. Alright. Picture you trade your starting quarterback. Right. You have Gardner Minshew. You don't need Nick Foles. Nick Foles goes to his new team to reportedly become the starter, right? Mm-hmm. You think to become the starter. But Mitch just had one more run, and then Mitch beat out Nick Foles for the starter job week 1. And do you know who they're playing? Their rival. The Detroit Lions, right? Matt Stafford back from a broken back. Blau got cut. Matt Stafford has Kenny Galladay. Marvin Jones Jr.
They lost Darius Slay to the Eagles, but they were able to pick up a very great corner in Jeffrey Okudah in the draft.
Exactly, Jeffrey Okudah. DeAndre Swift. Picking up Adrian Peterson. And for that reason of Adrian Peterson being picked up by the Lions, AP's going to go off. AP is going to have 132 yards rushing. 28 yards receiving. 2 touchdowns. And the Lions are going to get the dub. 24-20. Bears are just not going to be enough. Mitch Trubisky is going to show that he's made improvements from last year. But it's just not going to be anywhere close to enough to beat the Lions, especially with Okudah on defense there. That defense isn't looking bad still. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to be able to get a win,
Lions always start out great.
Yeah, and
That shit's bread. Matt Prater and Brandon McManus are having a competition to whoever can kick the longer field goal this year, right? Winner wins free beer for their city from Bud Light. I personally think it's going to be Brandon McManus. Matt Prater was also a Broncos kicker at one time. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But it's going to be a fun game that nobody's going to watch. In an empty stadium.
Mitch Trubisky's going to go out there. He's going to throw a couple picks.
Oh,
maybe a couple touchdowns.
Hey!
You know, maybe overthrow some of his wide receivers.
Oh, no. Not Mitch. Mitch wouldn't do that. Mitch is a new guy this year. He's found his confidence.
New guy. He's gonna come back and win the MVP.
Yeah! Mitch, comeback player of the year!
Yeah, I think the Lions are gonna win that one. You know, Kenny Galladay, DeAndre Swift, Kerryon Johnson. You know, Matt Stafford, you know, he's just like a veteran player. He's always been good for what he has. He's never really had like a great offense, especially the line.
Right, he literally broke his back.
Yeah.
From one comeback player potentially, and Matt Stafford or Mitch Trubisky, to another, Cam Newton.
Cam Newton with the Patriots.
The Patriots are facing off against Buffalo and the Dolphins week 1. I think Cam's going to go out and get the dub. I think Cam is going to prove that he should be starter material, especially over a guy, not to, you know, shoot anybody down or anything, but over guys like Tyrod Taylor, Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah. You know, these guys that guard him issue that shouldn't necessarily, I don't want to say not be starters, but you know,
Cam
they're
Newton.
borderland level. I think Cam Newton's better than him.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's going to show up this game. And they're going to get the dub. Miami isn't going to get that early victory over the Patriots. I know that Miami got it last year to force the Patriots into the wild card, which ended up being Tom Brady's last ever game. But hey, it's okay.
Yeah, I think.
Miami's going to figure it out eventually, especially with all the talent they have on the team. I know they got Byron Jones in the offseason. They've really bulked up that defense. They're not looking like a bad team on paper, especially Miami. Buffalo, look what he did with the team last year. He took them from 0-8. He got them to win games, and I mean,
he was able to beat the Eagles.
He had some victories he shouldn't have. And Buffalo's a great coach. You know, he killed it last year, and he's going to continue it this year, especially with that young team. I think is going to be great. Tua just sitting there in the realm, learning from potentially the highest IQ quarterback to ever play the game, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Of course, you're talking about like IQ,
yeah.
Smart guy, not necessarily the greatest football player.
Yeah, he's just really been. He's been in the league for a while. He's been to so many different teams.
Such a veteran guy to have. I think he's a great guy for Tua to learn under.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see what happens there. Who do you think is getting the dub?
I think the Patriots are going to get the dub just because Dolphins, you know, it's going to be the start of the year. They really just found out what winning is like last year at the end of the season, so I think they're going to try, but I think just Cam Newton on the offense trying to really be the comeback player of the year. And just with their defense, they were a top defense last year. They didn't really lose anybody. And so I think they're just going to be able to come out and get the dub against a weaker Miami.
All right. And our final game that we're going to cover this week, the Arizona Cardinals at San Francisco 49ers. That NFC West is looking kind of scary right now, not going to lie. Between Seattle, Arizona, and San Fran, it could be anybody's game. Last year, came down to the wire between Seattle and the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it's going to come down to the wire between the Cardinals, Seattle, and the Niners, in my opinion. It's going to be a fantastic game. Look at the offense for for Arizona. Kyler Murray. Probably going to be MVP this year. Just saying. He's better passer than Lamar. He's almost as mobile. It's going to be good. And Kyler has that Lamar didn't.
A great wide receiver.
The best wide receiver in football, in my opinion, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Who just got paid 5-year deal. 5-year extension.
Yeah, I think the offense is really going to be great. Kyler Murray coming and really trying to make a big impact in his second year. They got Kenyon Drake, who's been good. They have D-Hop, obviously.
Larry Fitzpatrick. Or Larry Fitzgerald. Psy Squad Pods. Superstar of the year.
Yeah, he's...
Go back in the archives to find that. But yeah, Larry Legend. You got Andy Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense isn't half bad either. Buda Baker, highest paid safety in the league.
Mm-hmm. They just picked up Isaiah Simmons in the draft.
Exactly. A young team looking fantastic. And Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a great coach for them, as you can tell. Just the way he goes with that team, it's going to work great. Mm-hmm. But they are playing the NFC champions at the moment. Could have won the Super Bowl at one point.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers haven't gotten all that worse. Well, they haven't gotten all that better necessarily. But they haven't got worse. They did trade away Matt Breida, Marquise Goodwin. And didn't they lose somebody to COVID?
Yeah, I believe so, but I forget. But they still have Raheem Mostert, who is actually pretty good in the playoffs last year. They still got that top defense.
Yep, they drafted Brandon Ayuk. Best tight end in football, George Kittle. They got Trent Williams. Talk about a great pickup there. But it's really about their defense. I mean, their defense is one of the top defenses in the league. You got Nick Bosa. You got Richard Sherman. Quan Alexander. Fred Warner. Eric Armstead. They picked up Javon Kinlaw in the first round. He has great potential. It's just looking great.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Even though the defense on 49ers is great, I think that Kyler is going to struggle at times, but Kyler's going to be able to get over those struggles in the second half. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, 38-32. I have the Arizona Cardinals getting the victory for the 49ers starting off 0-1 this year.
Yeah, I really feel like the Cardinals can steal a game here. Really to start momentum out on the season. I think that's what they're going to have to do, especially in division with the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Rams. I think they're going to have to start out hot and continue like that if they want to have a good year. So I think they're going to be able to steal this one.
Awesome. And football starts tomorrow, Quinten. So, Quinten, I might as well ask, who do you have going to the Super Bowl this year?
I think the Seahawks versus either the Chiefs or the Ravens. Well, Seahawks made the playoffs almost every year except one. Russell Wilson's been there. I feel like they're just got to be consistent. Russell Wilson is great against top teams like that. He's able to win games win really close games in the fourth quarter. Late drive down, he's able to come down and score and win the game. I think the 49ers, they're just gonna, they're a good team, but I feel like they're gonna lose to the Seahawks. I feel like in the regular season, they're gonna split with the Seahawks, go 1-1. They're gonna split with the Cardinals, and I think they're gonna be able to sweep the Rams. But I think just them losses against the Cardinals and the Seahawks, I think it really affect them, especially since have the Seahawks winning the one later in the season. I think that's just gonna go down on mentality, and so I think they're gonna be able to make it there.
You think they're gonna be better than the NFC South teams of the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Packers, and potentially the Cowboys?
I want to say they're gonna be better. I just feel like they're just gonna, they're a steady playoff team.
Right, they make the playoffs every year. Yeah. They don't win the Super Bowl every year. But
I just feel like Bobby Wagner has really liked that defense. Like it's been like bad. Like teams just been able to run on us, and they could throw the ball around the yard like last year and
you lost to Vanion County.
Yeah, but listen, last year in Game 1, we played the Bengals. Andy Dalton, we made him look like he was an elite quarterback. Our defense got shredded. But now I feel like with Jamal Adams, I feel like that's just going to really be able to help. Now we got 2 superstars on the team. Him and Bobby Wagner, they're just going to make a big impact. We're going to force teams to pass with Jamal Adams. If we really wanted to, we could play him like a Cam Chancellor. We could bring him closer to the line of scrimmage, play almost like a linebacker spot. I think he's going to be really effective there. And I just think teams with the Saints, they just don't show up sometimes. With the Vikings. The Vikings, people had doubts they were going to make the playoffs. Kirk Cousins he shouldn't have been paid all that money. And then they lost to him. They lost him last year. And I don't remember if it was a year before that or 2 years ago. They lost to him with Case Keenum as their quarterback, who was a backup on the Redskins.
Case. The Washington football team.
Oh, the football team. And then for the AFC, I have it the Chiefs or Ravens. I really feel like Lamar, I don't think he's going to be, as great as he was last year. A lot of people against him are going to play, more run. They're going to put more guys in the box so Lamar can't run. And they're really going to just put it up to if Lamar can throw the ball. And I feel like if he can throw the ball, like he did in the first couple games, even though it was against, the Dolphins, I feel like if he could throw like that, I feel like nobody's going to be able to stop him because they're going to have to bring all the guys in the box to stop him from running. And if he's going to be able to pass the ball. And then wide receivers, they have Mark Andrews at the tight end. And he's just a great last year. And Hollywood Brown, if he's able to really come out there and become a true number 1 wide receiver that Lamar Jackson can trust, is going to catch the ball. I feel like they can make it a far ways. And just with the Chiefs, their offense is so high-powered with just all their wide receiver threats. They have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I just feel like nobody in the AFC is going to be able to stop them 2 teams. So I just have them going.
That is fair.
Who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
Well, as much as I'd love the Broncos to win the Super Bowl this year, I don't think it's going to personally happen. Sadly. I do think that it'll probably be Kansas City. But I lead out hope that it's going to be a team not named Kansas City. I think a team to watch out are the Colts, the The Steelers, I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to do it. The Chargers and the Broncos are both going to put up hellacious fights. And even the Raiders, for that matter, are going to put up hellacious fights against the Chiefs. They play them twice a year. They literally spend half their offseason studying the Chiefs. And if I think one of those teams can drag them down, even a team like the Buffalo Bills, I know people like to shit on Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen, he isn't that great. Listen to anything Noah says about Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's a great quarterback in the making. He hasn't gotten there yet. I think he's going to get there eventually, and I think, especially with that powerful defense, the Bills could make it. In the NFC, I actually have it being the Cardinals, or the 49ers, or the Buccaneers. The Saints choke, man. As much as I want to put the Saints in that list, the Saints choke every single year.
They don't show up to the big games.
And so I can't put them in there. I want to see Tampa Bay, and I want to see Tom Brady have success. I don't think he's just going to be able to make the Super Bowl. You never know. But I think it's going to be a team in the NFC West. I don't think it's going to be the Rams. So, that leaves 3 teams there. 3 teams on each side. The Bills, the Broncos, or the Chiefs, and the Cardinals, the Seahawks, or the Niners. I think that I want to give the edge to the Cardinals and the Chiefs. And I want Kyler Murray to win. I want former MVP versus current MVP. And Kyler Murray, of course, because he will be the MVP. And Mahomes got paid $1 billion, basically. And I want Kyler to get that kind of money. I want Kyler to show up, ball out, win a Super Bowl. And I want the new rivalry not to be Deshaun Watson versus Patrick Mahomes. I want it to be my friend, Kyler Murray versus Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to be able to do the same thing. I'm excited to see which team picks up Lamar Miller to use him in a fashion like that, and I feel like it's going to be later in the season when a running back goes down. I could see the Chiefs easily picking up Lamar Miller, especially with only having Claire Edwards, whatever his name is.
Hilaire
at the moment. And so that's where I was going with that. But I think if the Chiefs add another piece, they're obviously the easy Super Bowl team. But at this point, somebody gotta be able to figure them out,
Yeah.
And I just hope some team does because I'm a Broncos fan. But I think, honestly, we might have the next dynasty on our hands. Sadly. And so I think that's what's going to happen. But hey, I'm excited for football to finally be here. I know you're playing games at the high school level right now. So that's going to be able to kick off the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
You getting the dub against Lincoln. Hopefully. Then hopefully a great football game to lead off the NFL season.
Yeah. I'll catch some touchdowns, and Tyreek Hill can go out there and catch some touchdowns.
You're on the offensive line, buddy. Much as you want to, you did catch a pass last week, but I don't think that will happen again, and we'll be surprised to see it. But is there anything else we need to go over here? Tons of players getting paid. That's about it. Cam Hayward got paid. Oh yeah, we might as well go over a couple retirements here. I'd like to send our thanks and wish a great retirement to Aqib Talib, who announced his retirement today.
About time.
And what do you mean about time? He said he was offered a $5 to $6 million contract, better than the veteran minimum, to guard tight ends this year by Bill Belichick. But he looked at the league. He looked at the tight ends he'd be facing off this year.
And he said, nah.
And he was like, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, don't know if I can handle that. And so he retired. And then Ryan Shazier
Unfortunate.
I'm glad he got to play again, though.
Yeah.
I think that was what we were waiting for him to be able to play. And so we'd like to send our thank you for all the years of entertainment and games that you have done. Real quick, the Braves have scored 29 points. The Atlanta Braves against the Marlins right now in the bottom of the 8th. Of course, we're not a baseball podcast. Nobody cares about baseball. But hey, that's almost a football score.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing? All they're doing? They're setting us up for football tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. Well, I think that's it for this week's podcast, Quinten. Thanks for joining me.
Anytime.
Where can we find you? Social media.
Find me on Snap, QBranson1. Other than that, don't have really anything else, Keep you guys updated. You feel me in a little bit. Twitter, you guys can come watch my highlights in a little bit. I'll get what's set up, post my highlights, See the great old linemen running out there, catching passes, trucking through people. Just come watch. Drop a like, drop a comment, hit the share button. Get me recruited.
There we go. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts. You can follow us on social media at SciSquadPod. And for the SciSquad Pod, I'm Duncan.
Quinten.
And this has been another great episode of the SciSquad Podcast. We'll see you next week in a back to normal setting. Enjoy football this weekend, guys. I know we